Just go somewhere else. I can't take this nonsense anymore. How are you going to blame the defense?
I got the power. Screw Green Bean. Damn it.
But once you get to the sausage, I feel like we're doing something.
Go Jets.
And that's the other part of it is the people are insanely jealous of this show. This show gets the best of the best, and it does a different way with positivity.
He scores!
Ow, my head! No, come on.
What would you give up to see a Jets Super Bowl?
All of my friends and family.
Hit those milk thumbs, boys and girls.
Freeze run.
Hold on to your underwear, ladies, and stand by, bitches. It's now time for Talkin' Jets with your hosts, Matt, Ryan, and Green Bean.
Welcome to Talkin' Jets. My name's Ryan, and I'll be your pilot tonight. Boys and girls, we're so excited to be with you. I've got my lovely co-pilots with me tonight. I've got Mr. Green Bean to my this way. I got Mr. Matt O'Leary to my that way. Bean, how you doing tonight?
I tell you, man, all I wanted for Christmas was the Jets to beat the Jaguars. I've been looking at this game all season. The one I wanted, and we got it. So I'm in a fantastic mood, Ryan.
What about you, Matt? How you feeling?
I am doing great. A victory Monday, victory Tuesday. You take them any way you can get them. And no shortage of topics to discuss tonight as GM candidates are being interviewed. The Jets are apparently in on Mike Vrabel. And the Jets won a game that we could talk about. So lots to get into tonight.
Yeah.
Like Matt said, lots to get into. Hit that like button if you enjoy the content that you're getting here over on the Talkin' Jets channel. We got a poll question in the chat. Which GM candidate do you like the most so far? Thomas Dimitroff, the GM of the Falcons, John Robinson, the Titans GM, or Louis Riddick from ESPN? You guys can vote on that in the poll question. I didn't put a none or none of the above because we don't have a fourth contender yet. So I want to hear your thoughts as we go on throughout this. But like was mentioned at the get-go, the Jets wound up winning a game. We beat the Jacksonville Jaguars, falling from what would have been the fourth slot if we lost all the way down to pick number 8. So for those of you in on the Tankathon party, maybe a little disappointed. But overall, I have to say, I enjoyed that game. I very much like seeing Rodgers play well. I like seeing Devontae Adams play well. And I think for me, watching, the blunders of like not kneeling it on the 1 yard line or not running like some clock or anything like that. And, the headaches from the last few weeks, I can like definitely say coaching is my biggest gripe with this team, and Rodgers looking good, no matter how you feel about bringing Rodgers back or not, is a net positive for this team. I think getting some wins for this young roster is good. I think getting, the fans and the staff and everyone being able to see Rodgers can still play. GM candidates and head coaching candidates that might be coming in here thinking like, all right, well, at least he looks like he's mobile. He looks like he's healthy. He looks like he's back to some form that he was prior. And, even if you want to move off Rodgers at the end of this year, I feel like having the option to not move off of him because he is playing better is a net positive here. And if that brings us one step closer to getting Mike Vrabel in here as our head coach, our coveted GM or head coach that we want, I'm all about it. So, Bean, I want to throw it to you first. What are your thoughts on the Jets-Jaguars game and how you feeling win versus loss and all that good stuff?
Well, let me start by saying the Jets and Jaguars played on my 52nd birthday.
That's right. Happy birthday, Bean.
So, yes. That's not why I was saying it, but thank you. So, the Jets do this weird thing where I'm a passionate fan. I want so badly. Not only do I want them to win, I want revenge. I want, optimally, I would love the Jets to go through the season and just stomp mud holes through the league. Like, that's what I want. And they never do it. They embarrass. We see record-breaking this, and that never happened before. And holy shit, can you believe? Like, we do all that stuff. And then we're eliminated, and we get amazing football. And it's like, all I want, dude, let me tell you, I actually bet $500 for the Jets to win just because If you do that in normal days, that means the Jets are going to lose.
Sure.
So I wanted them. I'm on Team Tank, as many know. And I just wanted to lose. So I even put my money where my mouth is, and they won. So I got a whole bunch of fucking money. And now it's like, but it's a funny thing. That said, I actually agree with a lot of what you just said, Ryan. I think we're watching all of our complaints throughout the year about Aaron Rodgers and not the guy we thought we were getting, and the indecisiveness and the pick sixes and all the stuff. What we're really looking at, if this guy throws for 250 the next couple of weeks, the next 3 weeks, I think it's 251 maybe.
Mm-hmm.
We're looking at the first $4,000 4,000-yard season in our lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how do you throw that? Or how do you go, yeah, I know, 4,000 yards, fucking 29 touchdowns, 9 picks. Like, how do you just haphazardly go, yeah, but we're done. So I don't know. It's nice to see the Jets have an option for next year. And if you are considering, kind of running it back, if A-Rod's here, Devontae Adams will likely be here. So now you got a lot of the core of the offense, and maybe it just took a little while to shake off the rust and get jelly and all that stuff. So it's kind of, it could be an amazing positive, what we're looking at right now. And I'm choosing to just kind of let go and sit in that. Let's see how they play against the Rams and the Bills and the Dolphins. Let's see how it goes. But imagine we have good showings and all that, maybe even win those games. Now we're a 7-win team. Right? Hypothetically, we win. We're at 7 wins, 3 games we lost because of Greg Zuerlein's foot. So that's a 10-win team. Just that alone, holy shit, we were good. That kind of a thing. So it's
how much
it's
cope do we have to have? No, it's okay. You're not wrong.
But it's hard on us. It's been very hard on me. I don't even know how the hell I didn't know how to process this season, right? Mm-hmm. So I think we're just watching the games. Yes, I'm on Team Tank because we could have had pick 4 and we have pick 8, all that stuff. But you know what? If we go out there and everybody's looking good and G-Dubs is excited and Devontae Adams is breaking records and all this stuff, so be it. And maybe a coach like Vrabel does come in. I don't think Vrabel would have any issue. He's the one, I think, out of all, if you get Ben Johnson or some, a rookie coach, you don't want that. That Aaron Rodgers is really the boss kind of a thing around the, but I think it could kind of lend itself to something. Again, is that what I'm rooting for? I don't know. I'm just hey, let's have some fucking fun. You know what I mean? So that's where I am, Ryan. They didn't do what I wanted for my birthday, but they did get a win. And it has been fun watching the Devontae Adams clips on, on Instagram or Twitter or YouTube Shorts. It's nice. It's all right, well, there's a little bit of that. We haven't gotten much of that this year. So you know what? I'll take it, man. I'm in, buddy.
Feeling good. Before I get over to Matt, I just want to acknowledge Jimmy Jets. Where's my think about? Boom! Jimmy Jets joining the OnlyFans and also donates 5 memberships to the channel. Jets! Thank you so much. You're awesome, Jimmy. We've got TP Jet, Jet Life 321, Mike Rubino, Nick, and Flight 49, all getting memberships courtesy of Jimmy Jets. Boys and girls, drop some JETS in the chat to show off those new emojis you got. Thank you so much, Jimmy, for the early Christmas gift. Matt, I want to hear your thoughts on the game.
Yeah, so I can't say that I was fully on with Bean, be I want them to lose today, but I wasn't while the game was on, I'm not actively rooting for them to lose, nor do I think Green Bean was actually doing that. But realizing hey, if they lose, it's better for the draft positioning, and that totally understand that. I have no problem with a fan who thinks that way. I did my patented team numb. I was going to react, whatever happened was going to happen. They won, and there were some things from this game that excited me. The offensive line looking awesome again was a positive. That is something that I'm going to take going forward, because 4 of the 5 guys are definitely coming back next year, and you can make the case that the 5th guy should also come back. Rodgers finding Davante Adams for 200 yards was fun. Garrett Wilson being wide open for a touchdown, also fun. So I'm going to take the small victories in this one. And like, I don't know if this next general manager is worth a damn, he should be able to find someone at pick 5 or pick 10. It's not like they were in position with the number 1 overall pick and this generational quarterback prospect is coming out. Like, not the same circumstance. We're talking about a team who was, before the game, I believe, slotted like 7th in the draft, and they're not tanking for a quarterback. They're not going to be able to get in range with the Raiders and the Giants. So why am I going to go nuts and kill them when there were some things to take out of this game that was actually good?
Yeah, 100%. And I'm not even like sold on both quarterbacks in this draft. Like, Sanders is a powder keg for sure. I'm not even necessarily sure that he would be allowed to come to the Jets either way. And then Cam Ward has the highest amount of turnover worthy plays. So there's little black marks on all these quarterbacks. The one that I think a lot of us were hoping for, either in the 2nd round or maybe if his draft stock rose, taking him in the 1st, was Allar from Penn State. He's going back to school, which seemingly leaves quarterback 3 to be Jalen Milroe. And I know fans are pretty, split on that decision either way, whether it's in the 2nd round or even, having to take him in the 1st round, which I think is ultimately what would have to happen if you did want him. And as far as like other players go, I would say the biggest part of like dropping in draft stock would just be like, okay, I don't think Mason Graham is going to fall to us. I think it probably would have been a reach at 7 for him to make it that far anyway. But now the Jets are kind of in a weird sort of flux state of where are they gonna go? What are they gonna pick? I mean, there's going to be players. You got to make the right selection. We've had the number 2 pick before, and clearly not the right selection. So, yeah, I'm not going to lose my mind too hard over this. As far as winning and like what this kind of means moving forward, I do think the Jets run it back with Rodgers. I think it makes a ton of sense from a financial standpoint in terms of like what you could put on the field for next year. We burned a 3rd round pick to get Davante Adams. I think bringing him back for another year is the right move. I think it gives you an opportunity to see what happens with Jordan Travis. Ideally, you get Mike Vrabel. I honestly think offensive coordinator will wind up being Todd Downing in that sort of circumstance, because then you have Travis in the same system for 2 years, Rodgers in a continuing system with Todd Downing, and then obviously Tyrod Taylor. And then if you want to draft a quarterback in 2026, that's when you reset the offensive side of the ball. And I would be totally all right with that type of scenario moving forward. Not to mention Garrett Wilson gets to play with a quarterback who's getting him the ball. He's still having his yards, his touchdowns, things like that. I think that keeps him happier than otherwise would if we were to move off of Rodgers and not necessarily get the quarterback we want in the draft. It gives you a little bit more time to kind of figure it all out. And who knows, if everything goes south next year and this doesn't look good, then, at the trade deadline, start making some tough decisions that you might have to make to recoup some draft stock. And at that point, I'm all right with it. But I want to see all these players come back. I want to run it back. I do not want to trade Breece. I don't want to trade Sauce. I don't want to trade Garrett. Let's bring them all back. Let's reload this team, and let's give it one last run to see how it all shakes out. Bean, what do you think about if we do get Vrabel, Todd Downing being the OC? I know people are probably going to hate me in saying that in the chat, but I think it's not the worst move.
I don't know what anybody's looking at. Clearly, Todd Downing is on the cutting edge. You know what it is? He's coaching where the game is going.
Oh, baby.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, look,
I'm all for
he's
bringing
not
in a new
Shanahan.
OC. No, absolutely not. But like at the same time, if you were to like, it's like, okay, well, we want to get a fair evaluation on Jordan Travis. Well, we just switched up the offense on him in his first 2 years. Like, Aaron Rodgers, is he really learning a new offense this late in the game? Like, probably not.
There's that too. Well, and exactly to that point, it took them all year to kind of figure it out. And then, yes, all of a sudden the secret injuries and all this bullshit that we always got to deal with. But it's like, they finally get to like this gelling stage where, I mean, look, it's the Jaguars, so we got to be careful. Like, they finally look great. It's like, all right, well, fucking let's hold our horses a smidgen.
Well, I
At the
thought
same
versus
time-
Seattle and versus the Dolphins, I thought they were looking
exactly,
better,
but
trending
they
up.
have looked better. There is improvement, right?
Mhm.
And we've seen glimpses, but it's like, okay, we kind of shake off whatever it is, the Achilles, the old man, the hamstring, and the timing with Garrett Wilson and all that shit. And then we get here, and everybody's like, okay, good, all right, well, I think we're getting there. And it's like, yeah, that's really fantastic. We're gonna get rid of the offensive coordinator. We're getting rid of this guy, that guy. Fucking Middleton's out. All these guys. And then it's like we start over, just like you said. Aaron Rodgers is 79 years old, and he's all mad about shit on McAfee today. And then it's like, we're going to hope that a fresh new, so I don't know. But then it's like, are we doing this again for 1 year? And then we got to hire somebody else. It's tough, but I think there's an argument to be made. Like, if you are going to run it back with A-Rod, Devontae, and all that keeping Downing would make sense. Now, Hackett, somebody's got to come in here and say, like, look, dude, we can save a lot of money for the guy sitting in the booth cheering.
I'll get you coffee all year. It's all right.
Yeah, fuck yeah. Matt, would you sit in the booth and just like pretend to look at a clipboard and go, yeah, man, that sounds like a good play?
Yeah, give me a headphones, but with no mic. I won't even have anything to say. I'll just sit there and listen.
They'll turn your mic off. They'll give you the mic. And just
all I need.
He thinks he's talking. It's all right.
Cover my parking pass, and you got me. I'm sold.
Exactly. Tolls and parking pass, please.
Done. What do you think, Matt? What do you think about Downing possibly coming back as OC if they were to get Vrabel?
I don't know. I would hope that they would do a broader offensive search. I think we could do better. And Downing, to his credit, has been better than I anticipated that he would be. But I don't think that Vrabel would come in here and just go, oh, yeah, I had like Todd Downing and Keith Carter and like Tony Dews and people. I'll just keep that offensive staff. They've done this great job. It's a second chance. You don't usually get a third opportunity if your second opportunity fails. So I don't think it's like this absolute lock that he would just run it back with, the staff that he had his last year in Tennessee. He has a pretty good eye for offensive coordinators. 2 of the 3 that he hired got hired as head coaches after performing well in Tennessee. So I might let him get the opportunity to go out there and see if he can find someone else to fill that role. I don't hate Todd Downing. I just think that they need to do more of an overhaul. And I think that likely means pretty much this entire staff getting blown up.
Well, what I meant to say was Todd Downing retains his current role and calls plays, but we get a new offensive coordinator that secretly works behind the scenes with Jordan Travis and the quarterback to be, and then he takes over for Downing when we can his ass. That's what I meant to say. Sorry.
Do we care?
I like that.
That sounded harsh, but do we really? I don't think a GM that didn't draft the 5th or 6th round quarterback who hasn't played in a year is going to necessarily be like, this is my guy.
I agree.
Be the heir apparent here.
Yeah, I
But
think
conversely, they could have loved him.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know how they felt. That's fair. I don't know how they felt about him coming out. That's true.
Yeah, maybe Vrabel liked him and he just wasn't in a position to draft anyone because he wasn't a head coach. Who knows?
True.
Right.
And that's going to be the case, not just Jordan Travis, but like there's a lot of guys that the previous regime really loved. For instance, like just to rattle off a few, like Jamie and Sherwood, Michael Clemens, Tony Adams, like the next staff that they hire aren't necessarily going to feel the same way about some of those guys.
Right.
And some fan favorites. I mean, we see it every single time. I feel like new regimes come in here, and just to put it on, from the Jets perspective, like Mangini comes in, he ends up moving on from John Abraham and Jonathan Vilma. Rex comes in and Curry Rhodes doesn't last much longer, and Chris Baker is gone, and certain stuff like that. So there might just be a little bit more change than we're anticipating, was basically the overall point that I wanted to make there.
Yeah, I think that makes a whole lot of sense. The other part of this too is like if they do run it back with Rodgers and Tyrod, and you have Jordan Travis in the wings, you almost get 2 cracks at quarterback, right? Like you get to see what Travis is, and if you don't like it, the team is going to be pretty well stocked after this draft, and like some pieces in free agency, maybe you add a safety or 2, and you kind of figure it out from that respect. But in 2026, if you want to go up and get your guy, I'm a little more okay with like moving the farm to go get the quarterback at that point. There's going to be a few top names at the top of that. If Allar comes back and has a strong year, he's going to be near the top 10. You got the kid from Tennessee, potentially Arch Manning coming out. Like, it could be a very, very good draft class. Now, that's not to say don't go after a quarterback in this draft. I think if you're in a position similar to like the Watson-Mahomes year, don't look ahead to the next quarterback class. Take the quarterback when you think you can get it. But I think it gives you that little bit of flexibility to not have to force a thing. 𝐒𝐿𝐫𝐞𝐞 says, fuck draft positions, win some damn games. That's sort of where I'm at.
What
Like,
meant? I thought he meant duck.
Duck draft position. That's right. Dip, dodge, duck, dive.
Yeah.
I was talking to Dom about this last night, and he's like, basically from pick like 7 through like the middle of the second round, all those players are going to be somewhere in between. It's going to be on a sliding scale for a lot of players. Last year's draft was way stronger at a lot of different positions. Jets are going to be in an interesting spot at the back part of the top 10 on which direction they go. I do want to just pose a question to you, and I don't think it's something I would consider really doing, but you have the running back from Boise State, 𝐒𝐮𝐬𝐜𝐫𝐞𝐞, possibly like on the board around that pick. Do you think there's a team that would want to trade up for him? Is there? Do you think he's an attractive enough player to be able to trade down? And second part of the question, if you're offered something of value for Breece Hall, would you consider pulling that trigger on what could be deemed as a generational running back coming out? Or is the value at the position just not worth it at all, considering where we got Braylon Allen and Isaiah Davis in last year's draft? Just more so a discussion point than anything else. I hadn't really given it much thought until yesterday. Matt, I'll throw this one to you first. What are your thoughts on the running back?
I don't like that idea. In taking it as a trade for Breece Hall, I think you'd be selling low. I still think Breece Hall is a very damn good player.
So let me preface it with like a 4th round pick isn't enough for me to trade Breece Hall. Like even a 3rd round pick, I'm probably not doing it. If you're offered a 2nd though, I'm probably going to do that.
No, I wouldn't do it. And I know that's probably what you're going to get in a trade. I'm not saying Breece Hall is going to yield a 1st round pick, but I would rather keep Breece Hall than trade him for a 2nd round pick and draft a running back in the 1st round. That's not a route that I would look to go. They need significant help on their defense. I would hope that if their 1st round pick is not a quarterback, that it's something on the defensive side of the ball, unless you're trading down and like taking a Tyler Warren or something like that. I don't think I like the state of the offensive line, and I don't think there's one where the Jets are going to be picking where I'm like, oh yeah, this guy is anywhere close to the prospects that were in last year's 1st round draft. And like, you're going to need probably 3 defensive linemen next year, 2 on the interior. You're probably going to need another edge because Hassan Reddick isn't going to be back, and he hasn't been good. And you might have to replace DJ Reed, and we don't know what they're going to do at linebacker, and you need 2 more safeties. So I just feel like that'd be a really poor allocation of resources if the Jets went that route.
Fair enough. Bean, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I actually agree with Matt. I'm not into it. I don't know. I think like if there's one strength on the team, although like Breece has been a little banged up, I think it's our running back position. You know what I mean? Like we have it's pretty deep, and you see that A-Rod loves Isaiah Davis, loves him. He'll throw him the ball in traffic, man. He don't give a shit. Like he doesn't trust certain wide receivers, certain tight ends, but he loves Isaiah Davis, baby. So I don't know. But I think it's for good reason. Braylon Allen and Isaiah Davis have shown that while they're maybe not ready to be premier backs or never will be, That's a really nice stable with Breece at the top. Don't forget, guys, a lot of Aaron Rodgers' touchdowns throughout the seasons or his yards, it's little dump offs to Breece, and he's just running around. You know what I mean? He's getting 25 yards or whatever it might be. So Breece is still a stud. We haven't figured out how to really open up the running game so it's a dominant part of the plan, at least, especially as far as we thought it was going to be. We thought that was going to be like the bread and butter. Aaron Rodgers on the field was going to open it up, and we saw it from week one. The Niners just said, okay, well, that's great and all, but we're going to make you prove that Aaron Rodgers needs us to spread out a little bit. And we've seen that a lot this year. And our offensive line had issues, they're looking really good right now, particularly in pass pro, but a little bit better in the run game. But again, it's like we really haven't figured out how to open it up. And I think a lot of it is schematic. We run a lot out of 12 and 13. And quite frankly, we come out there, like when you bring a 12 or a 13 personnel out there, the goal is to dominate the line of scrimmage. You got 13 out there. You're saying we're going to push you back 5 yards and open holes. And our guy's going to, it's like the old Emmitt Smith thing. Like Emmitt Smith didn't get contact a lot of the time till 5 yards past the line of scrimmage. And that was the first move he had to make. He just went, pew. That's what we're hoping to do, but we don't have the horses to do that for whatever reason. Again, offensive line issues, maybe the tight ends having them out there. They're not really having the impact that you would hope they do. Whatever it is, we haven't really been able to do that, and we're running out of those packages. We're having a lot more success running out of 11 because we're spreading the defense out and, keeping them on their heels a little bit, keeping them guessing. When we bring 13, they know what we're doing. We throw out of it a very low percentage. I don't remember what it was. We were talking about it a couple weeks ago, but I just forget what it was. But it's on the lower side. When we come out in 12 or 13, we're running more times than not. They know that. They're ready for it, and they just stack it. So I think it puts guys like Breece Hall at a little bit of a disadvantage. Again, great backs. Like if he's Barry Sanders, sure, he can make that work. I don't give a shit who's here. I'm going to juke 12 guys, even though there's only 11. One guy got a second chance and I juked him too. Like that's the way that a guy like Barry Sanders is. Breece Hall isn't Barry Sanders, but that doesn't mean he's not a great back. And so I think we've talked about this for different reasons, but I'm not the biggest fan of creating holes to fill when we have holes to fill. So, you know what I mean? Trading Breece Hall, Matt said it perfectly. We're going to be trading low. You're getting pennies on the dollar, so to speak. And then you're going to use your premium draft to fill that. It just seems like, I don't know. That's a little bit of, extra work that we didn't need to do. Unless they think he's washed, something like that, which I don't think is the case. He's going into year 4. I'm not too concerned. So anyway, I don't love the idea.
I guess my thought process is coming from, and maybe it's more he's a chip to be moved in season next year. I don't even think we're going to franchise him after next season. I think more likely than not, especially if we're taking a huge dead cap in 2026, I don't know if that's in the cards. Maybe they work out some kind of extension. More so a thought experiment than anything else. Peter comes in. Peter saying, that's my biggest worry. We lose some good players whose contracts is up because JD mostly gave 1-year deals, etc. Sherwood has had a good season, want him back, and others. Whom do you guys want back? So Sherwood, Eccles, and why am I drawing a blank? I had 3 guys I wanted to bring back. Sherwood, Eccles,
Isaiah Oliver.
Yeboah, of course.
You know what? I didn't even think of Isaiah Oliver. I would bring Isaiah Oliver back. I have no issues with him.
Morgan Moses?
There it
Chuck
is.
Clark?
No, it was Moses. I want to bring Moses
Kendrick.
back. I want to bring Eccles back, and I want to bring Sherwood back. Those would be my 3.
We just forgot an obvious one.
Who?
Leaky Fotu.
That guy has been
I really want him
special.
back. he can leaky Fotu right off this fucking team.
Let's be straight. That guy has been something special. I mean, could you have Imagine just going off the kind of, mid-range free agent and getting a guy that literally did nothing. Come on, that's not easy.
Dude, we brought in what's-his-face last year. We don't even know if he had a heartbeat, and he got paid like $800,000, and then we never even saw him in practice. I can't even remember the guy's name. The offensive lineman.
Yeah.
The hell was his name?
What was his name again?
Saffold. There it is. I'm not even sure he flew into New York or Jersey. We've done worse. Fotu wasn't very good, though.
No, Fotu needs to go.
What about you, Bean? What players do you
Dude,
want
I'm
to see come
telling you,
back?
man, they got to fucking get somebody in here that knows what 𝐒𝐫𝐞𝐫𝐢 is. Like this Ruckert thing, he dropped another big pass this week. I mean, and, he has his moments, but he had a really bad missed block, at least one, but one was particularly glaring. He had a big drop again. And it's like I don't know why these guys are starting over 𝐒𝐫𝐞𝐫𝐢. Like, now, if this was Andy Reid, right, I would trust that there's something up. Like, there's just, whatever we think out here, I trust his evaluation. He's like, look, the guy's not what you think he is. I don't give a fuck how much you got a boner for him. You know what I mean? Like that kind of a thing. But like with our staff, we haven't proven that we really know how to both develop and or manage the offensive staff. Like, I'm sorry, the players. So it's like one of those things where like I just don't see how we talk about accountability all the time. We haven't in a while because we just know it's not real. So everybody's like, yeah, let's just stop talking about it. Nobody's accountable. We got buddies and they're gonna play because we like them. Like that's the way that it kind of is around here. But it's like when you see a guy that's dropping passes, he's very inconsistent. And look, I love Ruckert. I love his dad. I love the story. I love all the stuff. But on the field, can we just say inconsistent?
Sure.
And 𝐒𝐫𝐞𝐫𝐢, conversely, has never dropped a pass. He blocks significantly better than Ruckert. You put him on special teams. He's in on most of the tackles. Like what the fuck? What does a guy got to do? So I'm hoping that whoever comes in here goes, no, we want that guy. And we sign him and they use him. And then we all know what Green Bean already knows, which is again, I'm not saying he's,
𝐒𝐫𝐞𝐫𝐢 has been your boy since the draft. Like I remember hopping on the phone with you when we found out we got him as an undrafted free agent. We're like, we got the guy.
Yeah. And just to be fair and square, I was yelling his name since about the 4th round. So, I was a little off.
Not that far. Considering Ruckert was taken in the 4th round?
Third.
Yeah. And 𝐒𝐫𝐞𝐫𝐢 was playing better. I would say your scouting's pretty much on. Green Bean for GM.
Yeah. Like, what do you think? What has to happen for the guy to get some fucking, to get some looks?
I don't know. Tight end's definitely high up on my list of things I'd like to see. Especially if we were to trade down or anything like that. Matt, your thoughts on the 1-year players that we want back?
Okay, Jamie and Sherwood, I would say. Maybe Jalen Mills in a depth role.
Ooh, that's a good name. That's good. That's a smart one.
Isaiah Oliver, I tossed out. Brandon Eccles, maybe. But I don't want to break the bank for Brandon Eccles. Like I like him in a depth role. I don't know if I'm ready to say he's our cornerback too for next year to replace DJ Reed, but I'm okay for bringing him back on a relatively cheap deal for depth. Morgan Moses on the offensive side of the ball. I think that's probably about it for the 1 year guys.
Yeah, I think what we got to keep an eye on is where Saleh ends up as a defensive coordinator somewhere, because that's where those defensive guys are going to go. You'll see Reed likely follow wherever Saleh goes. Eccles probably won't if Reed's going to a given place. I think there's a shot Eccles hangs around, like even on a relatively cheap 1 year deal. Sherwood, given the linebacker connection with Saleh, I definitely think could be leaving to follow him. It's always a frustrating thing when you fire a coach and it's like, there goes the guys that they liked. Like, not that, but you see it every year, right? Like even Todd Bowles traded up to number 3 to go get Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield wound up going in front of us by accident. He becomes a head coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and lo and behold, Baker Mayfield eventually ends up in Tampa Bay with Todd Bowles. So like, I don't know. It's just interesting to see how coaches pull players, and especially if we switch schemes. Like if we go from a 4-3 to a 3-4, like that would be a painful switch at this point. We have like high first round picks invested on this D line. That would be very frustrating to try and remaneuver. Bean, what are your thoughts on like, if we shift to a 3-4 or some alternative defensive scheme?
Well, what'll be really sad when the players start to leave, like if Saleh gets a DC job and everything, like I'm going to miss Solomon Thomas, Kinlaw.
No, not
those
Kinlaw.
guys are really, really good.
I like Saleh as like a depth guy.
Yeah.
I don't mind.
You know what bothers the shit out of me?
He's been man of the year for like 4 years.
A nice person.
But he disappears
dude.
for like 3 weeks and then he makes a tackle and he does a fucking snake dance. Like I just can't. I'm like, all right, just go like, yeah, like be a man, like do something, and if it progresses and you have a dominant game, fucking snakes, slither around the joint. I don't give a shit. But it's like, come on, dude. It's your first tackle in 3 weeks. And you're snake dancing on us? Like, I don't know what that is. You know that thing? He does a fucking weird snake. I don't know.
It's like the wiggle.
Yeah. But he's like easy. I don't dislike Solomon Thomas. He's like you said, he's nice depth and everything, but he's not a guy I'm gonna cry over one way or the other. But
Fotu and Kinlaw, like, all right, I could leave. I said Fotu and Kinlaw.
Dude, who is that guy? I don't even know. I mean, I love his hair.
Name sounds fun to say. It's about it.
Yeah. Right. I mean, I was hoping he would do something. He came in around week 5 and we were like, yeah, he came in and made like a play in his first like couple plays.
I think
like,
he
all
bounced
right,
out again,
yeah.
right?
And then he got the 12 man on the field because he was lollygagging. Remember, he was like,
yep.
I'm not in a real game. La, 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 la. And then he was hurt again. It's like, what the fuck is this guy? So yeah, he can pound salt for all I care. Who is the other? Who is the other guy?
Kinlaw?
You said
Kinlaw, dude.
No. You said somebody.
Solomon Thomas?
No, I said Solomon Thomas like an idiot. I
What are you
ruined
talking
what
about?
you were asking.
Oh, I was talking about
What
like
did he
switching from like the wide 9 to like a 3-4.
Here's my main concern with that. Now, I am a 4-3 guy because I like, the sack exchange, the Dennis Bird, Loggeman years, like our best defenses outside of when Rex came here were 4-3. Like I love to be able to generate real pressure from just the 4 down linemen. Like I really do. Optimally, I think, that's my, like if they're, firing on all cylinders, like I really do love that. But 3-4 allows for a lot more, flexibility. You can do a lot more. Like you can instantly make it a 4-3 just by bringing the outside linebacker up and all that kind of stuff. So my concern is Quinnen Williams, they've moved him around a lot. And now I think it's pretty evident that he's really best right in his natural position, right? Of like, the defensive tackle spot. Moving him to the like I don't love the idea of moving him to the end. He's not 𝐒𝐿𝐽. He's not able to just kind of produce similar impact from any position on the line. They've moved him around a lot this year. And he's made a play or two. I think he has like 1 sack from the defensive end. I'm really worried about them thinking that he's a defensive end and or whether or not he can really kind of play that 2 gap over the, as the nose tackle over center. So it's like, does it kind of ruin, his position on the team? I love Quinnen. I truly, I think he's not having the year that I hoped he would have, but I think Quinnen is still Quinnen. And this year has been crazy for lots of people. I mean, Sauce is having a down year. It took Garrett Wilson a bunch of weeks to get, like, there's just a lot. It's just a shitty, weird year. So I'm not like out on Quinnen, but I genuinely do wonder how he would do, playing over the center as opposed to playing, where he is now in the somewhat of, like the 3 tech. So I I don't know. That's my one concern. Like, does Quinn Williams all of a sudden become a guy that's like, yeah, we can't use him?
Yeah, it gets weird with all the players because, like, I feel like if you did switch, you'd almost want to find a nose tackle, and like you said, you don't necessarily want to move Quinnen out, but like Quinnen and JJ as the edges with like Will McDonald being a stand-up linebacker is like might be the only way to like maneuver the defense, and I don't particularly love that. Matt, what are your thoughts on the, if we had to switch to like a 3-4 or something?
I don't think I'd want to for the reasons that you just laid out. I think they are better off keeping a 4-3 because of how their defense is built. I think a 4-down line set of Jermaine Johnson, Quinnen Williams, Will McDonald, and then insert another starting caliber interior guy. I think that has the chance in the making to be a very good defensive line and be a strength of theirs again. I think it creates some issues for you because your personnel, how you were building was as a 4-down defensive line front. There's ways to change it, but like you guys were just kind of laying out there, Quinnen then probably has to go to being a 3-4 defensive end, and I don't know how that works. Will McDonald as a outside linebacker in a 3-4 makes sense. Jermaine Johnson, I think, is a little big for that role, but I guess he could do it. I don't know. I just think you're creating more problems for yourself by switching up.
I see Jake in the chat. What's up, Jake? Says, give me Vrabel or give me death. Green bean for GM. Yes, that's what I want to see. We did, I guess it's a good jumping off point to talk about some of our GM candidates that we've been looking at. Yesterday, the Jets brought in Thomas Dimitroff, former Falcons GM. He was a scout for the Chiefs, Lions, Browns, and Patriots, director of college scouting for the Patriots from 2003 to 2007, and Falcons GM from 2008 to 2020. He drafted Matt Ryan and made an aggressive trade up to go get Julio Jones. Not to mention brought in a few good players over that time. I believe he was 2-time executive of the year. And then kind of trailed off a little bit after that Super Bowl. I believe they went 0-5 the year that Quinn and him were both fired. So interesting, potential addition. I don't know. You can't interview any of the guys that are currently on teams right now, so I wouldn't get too worked up over any one particular name. But Matt, what are your thoughts on Dimitroff first and foremost?
I'm lukewarm on him. Like, I think he's an okay candidate. There's some really good things that he did, and there's some things that give me concern. The good, obviously, finding a franchise quarterback, finding a star wide receiver, being aggressive to trade up for one of the best wide receivers of the past generation, finding a franchise left tackle and having those guys stay for a long period of time is a good thing. They had 2 separate windows of success with him. They made a couple deep playoff runs, had 2 down years, and then went to the Super Bowl and then made the playoffs again, and I believe lost in the divisional round the following year. The thing that worries me a little bit is his building on the defensive side of the ball. They never were really able to get that unit up to par, and I think that's what held them back in their championship window. There were a lot of misses on the defensive line in early rounds too. Like Takk McKinley, who's now a Jet, was a first-round pick by him. Vic Beasley was another one who was like a flash in the pan, had like one good year and then was pretty bad the rest of his career. And some big money free agents came in on the defensive side of the ball and didn't necessarily work out. He did find a win is finding Grady Jarrett in the mid rounds. I think he was a 5th-round pick for them. So I would say an up and down tenure, finished over 500, built a team that went to a Super Bowl. I think he's pretty good. I'm not like rushing to hire him right now, but I think you could do a lot worse. He's definitely been the best name that's been linked to them so far, I think.
Stud City says that if we were to bring in Dimitroff, we would see a potential trade for Kyle Pitts, maybe.
He didn't draft him, though, did he? I think he was already gone.
2020. Well,
I think he said we're trading for him. So if we get him, I mean, okay, I see what you guys are doing. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't know when Pitts was taken. Was he 21? Was he the same year as Sam or
yes.
Zach?
Yes.
Okay.
Zachy Poo.
Yeah, that's right. Green Bean, what are your thoughts on Thomas Dimitroff?
We could do worse, like Riddick.
Yeah, that would be worse.
Yeah,
which we don't need. I don't need.
I don't like either of the other options right now.
But he's to me, he's a little bleh. He's a little like, okay, there's a chance. The good news is he knows how to do it. Matt pointed out, both the positives and the negatives. So I think, getting a guy, like, I'm a big fan of getting guys who've had success, like been in the position, have had success at the position, and, kind of folded back into the ether, so to speak, and now are, like, they come in with just a boatload of experience and, what they did wrong, like time to reflect, all that kind of stuff. That's why, like, if a head coach gets fired, if they're not named like Andy Reid, like, I don't like hiring a coach 10 minutes after they got fired. Our last stint with that was Adam Gase. We did it with Kotite too, by the way. Yep. So it's like, like, they have to have some time to, like, really look at, like, because, like, when you're in the mix, you think, these guys are fucking wrong. I had it. I knew it. And then you sit down and you look at things, you get past your emotions, you go, yeah, boy, oh boy, was that a bad move by me. But if you don't have time to do that, it's a negative, right? Again, guys not named like Andy Reid or somebody, of that caliber. Like, for example, if Shanahan gets fired, which he won't, but if he did, like, we should be like, banging on his door with the cheerleading squad, doing, dances out there and flips and shit and all kinds of booties and everything you could do, chocolates and flowers, all that kind of stuff. That's a different story. But, like, for somebody like him, again, there's a lot there. We could do a lot worse than him. But he's not the guy that I'm, like, really hoping that they get. I would like to get somebody that's kind of in my mind, like, upper tier, So anyway, I think it's a good interview. I like that they brought him in, and see if things don't necessarily work out. I mean, maybe he's their target. I don't know, but interview some more guys. And if it doesn't work out in other areas, then, pivoting back to him, I think we could do a lot worse.
We got John Robinson in today, former Titans GM, was paired up with Mike Vrabel down in Tennessee. He was a scout for the Patriots, 2002 to 2008, director of college scouting for the Patriots, 2009 to 2012, director of player personnel for the Bucks from 13 to 15, and then Titans GM from 16 until 22. He did make some really nice draft picks in Derrick Henry and A.J. Brown, but for whatever reason, he seemed unable to be able to retain, big-time players. A.J. Brown ultimately shipped out of Tennessee, and they drafted Treylon Burks, and that kind of ended Robinson's stint with the Titans. But Green Bean, let's go to you first. What are your thoughts on John Robinson? Actually, you know what? I'll give my thoughts real quick, and I'll pass to you.
There you go.
Sorry about that. My quick thoughts on Robinson. I think it's very good to get intel on Vrabel, no matter how you can get it. The good, the bad, the ugly, and bringing him in with someone who worked with him is not a bad move. I do not think that John Robinson and Vrabel would be paired up as a tandem moving forward, but I do think it's good to at least find out some more information on the guy that you covet so much. And it's interesting to see that we covet him. Today we get that report. I think we all sort of assumed it, but, like, right after we bring in John Robinson, maybe we just fell head over heels for Vrabel, and then we started leaking all this info out. So I think there's multiple ways to get intel on a guy that you really like, and this might be one of those sort of situations. Bean, your thoughts?
Now, do we do what we do and bring him in with the hopes that it'll help get Vrabel in, like Hackett? That's what I don't want. It's like, I want them to get the best guy. Like, let's just shoot straight. When we look at, and I'm burnt out, so like the names, but it's like, the guy from the Vikings, the guy from the Lions, what the fuck is his name, the Lions that we like,
Talking
Agnew.
about Ben Johnson? Oh, Agnew. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry, yeah, the GMs. And then you look at like Dorsey, and then you look at him. Don't you
It's a
see
little
difference?
underwhelming.
Right? Don't you see a little, like, you in your imagination, there's like just a visual of a tear, right? That comes to mind, and you're like, yeah, he's on the next one,
A few next ones, yeah.
Yeah, right. So it's like, now if we do that, like, hey, let's get this guy, and he's got the inside scoop with the coach we want. Like, I don't want to do that anymore, man. I'm so sick of it. Like, I'm just I don't want to see that same kind of thing. Like, we know that Robinson's here, and then we ponder for a little while, like, that means Vrabel. I don't want to do that shit. Like, I want the guy because we want the guy. And to me, even just at the two guys that we looked at so far, he's number 2 already. So I'm hoping he's not the choice.
O'Leary, thoughts on Robinson?
If you want Mike Vrabel, don't hire John Robinson, because they were not getting along at the end. Supposedly, one of the big things was Vrabel didn't want to trade AJ Brown, and they did trade AJ Brown, and things did not go great. They took Treylon Burks in the first round to replace him, and Treylon Burks has not been very good in the NFL. And then shortly thereafter, Mike Vrabel was then fired. So Vrabel did say, like, it's going to depend on who the GM is for his interest in jobs. If your thought is hiring John Robinson because they work together in Tennessee and that's going to lure him in, I think that's short-sighted. Just because they work together, I don't think necessarily means that he's going to want to sign up for them. That, again, especially how things ended. And that's a big reason why I don't want to hire him. I don't think he made a lot of good roster decisions towards the end. Like, I get it, he has a good record because, early on in his tenure, they won a lot of games, but things ended pretty poorly there. And I think some of their roster decisions were very, very questionable.
Yeah, they wound up losing. Was he the GM when they lost Conklin to the Browns? I feel like he was.
Yeah.
Not great. Dante comes in and says, isn't it all a crapshoot? I want competency and experience. I want people who've done it before and done it well. Reddick has no GM experience. Robinson isn't that bright. And Dimitroff is just okay. Well, Dimitroff has that GM experience. I guess you can argue their most productive years were with Shanahan as the OC, so maybe there's some concern there. But they still had some nice years with Matt Ryan prior to, Shanahan getting there. So I think it's a crapshoot. I think competency and experience matters. To me, Reddick, who we're going to jump into right now, is the one that has the least amount of relevant experience recently. And now we have not interviewed Reddick yet, but this is someone that, was it ESPN he works for right now? Yeah, ESPN announcer. He was a player from 91 to 99, Redskins scout from 01 to 07, Eagle scout in 08, assistant director of pro personnel in 09 for the Eagles, and then director of pro personnel 2010 to 2013. So he's been out of the game for over a decade, but has been within the sphere of the game in the sense of being on ESPN. I don't want to go this route, and I'll just leave it at that. Matt, your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't know if I could remember a time where a team hired a GM off the analyst desk and plugged him in and it worked out. I think 𝐒𝐿𝐫𝐞𝐞𝐳 is their most recent example. And, well, things went pretty poorly in Vegas for that short amount of time that both he and Gruden were there. So I would say no. He's been out of the NFL, man, for almost 10 years. Now, I get it. He covers it every day. He knows the league. I'm not saying like it's just some Joe Blow off the street that they'd be hiring, but I think he should stay on TV. I think Louis Riddick is, at this point, he hasn't worked for a team since 2013. I don't want to be that team to go, all right, we're going to put you in the GM chair, a position you never held after not working in the NFL for 10 years. That does not seem like a good plan.
Bean, your thoughts on Reddick?
Well, let me say this only because I don't want people to confuse, with Hassan Reddick. It's actually Louis Riddick.
Riddick.
You got a little typo there, and I know you know these things. Ryan's the smartest guy I know.
You know what? The system I use has an autocorrect on it, and I
don't
don't always catch it because I put it correct in the poll question.
Yeah,
poll question
and I don't question. I mean, again, like it's not like Ryan, you stupid. Like
I'm an idiot.
Yeah. Look at fucking Ryan, man. No, but it's like I just agree with what you guys are saying. It's he's the least exciting of the whole batch of names that we've heard. Matt said it perfectly. Like, yeah, technically speaking, he's still in the sphere, the NFL consciousness, so to speak. But taking him from the booth and the ESPN desk and bringing him in here, and it just makes me not excited in the slightest. He's an unknown commodity, and I'm tired of guys coming in here who have not done the job before. Like, we do it time and time again. Rookie GM, rookie head coach. Oh, it just so happens it's time for a rookie quarterback, baby. So we do this constantly. And he would be a rookie. Sure, he's done stuff. He's a rookie GM. I don't fucking want him.
There's only one rookie GM I want.
Felt mad about that. I don't know what happened there.
It's Green Bean.
Yes.
I want that rookie GM.
Yeah, put the graphic up.
I don't know if I have the graphic right now. Do I have the graphic? Hold on.
If we're gonna do it,
I think we've got the graphic somewhere. Let me.
That'd be an insane poll if you pulled that up.
You know what? I don't. Oh, what? I screen shared it last time. I don't think I have it right now. Bastard.
I get that shit. I got all that shit, man.
Crap. No, seriously, the only rookie GM that I'm like would prefer. I shouldn't say the only rookie GM, but the rookie GM I would prefer to go after is Glenn Cook from the Browns. That's the guy I would circle. Okay. He went on interviews, I believe 2 of the last 2 years, or maybe 3 of the last 3 years, and he did interview with the Titans before they hired Ran Carthon. He was one of the 2 guys that went in during that interview process, and he did not get the job. And I thought it was interesting that Vrabel left the Titans to go to the Browns, where Glenn Cook currently is. And to me, the Browns have been a pretty good organization for the last chunk of years in terms of finding talent, getting the most out of talent. I'm sure a lot of that has to do with Stefanski, but I would definitely roll the dice on Glenn Cook from the Browns, pair him with Vrabel. Maybe Daboll gets fired. You get a little OC action. I don't know. Whole lot of talent you could bring in. Sodak says, where are the GM options from the Green Bay Packers, the Kansas City Chiefs, the Detroit Lions, or the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? And there are no options for them yet because they are still playing. We have to wait until after the season for them. So that's sort of where that lies. So just anyone who's upset about the GM candidates right now, just know that more candidates are coming down the pipeline. Angel Aliga, thank you so much for the super chat, says, Jelly Bean, is Team Tank, words. Let me try this one more time. Jelly Bean.
I'm bracing myself.
This Team Tank is foolish. This draft is a bit weak anyway. Also, you seem to only want to draft offensive linemen, but this team needs defensive help. Our O-line is actually decent for a change. Draft defense, quarterback, and tight end. Matt, could you please put together a poll question real quick? Since we got a $20 super chat.
Sure.
Looks like we had Dimitroff as our top GM option per the chat. And you're going to be able to freeze one of us here, courtesy of Angel. So I guess, Greenman, I'll let you answer this. Since Angel's talking to you, I assume you are the Jelly Bean. So give us your thoughts.
For the jugular on that one.
Yeah, it's fucking hurtful.
I like jelly beans.
It's hurtful.
Especially sour ones. Sometimes green bean can be a little sour. Sour Patch jelly beans, slamming.
I don't know what I did. Although, I mean, you could say jelly beans are great. You know, I don't know what he means. Maybe he just means my boobies are jelly. I don't know what he's talking about.
Maybe it was an auto.
But I'm sorry for my look. Here's the thing. There are arguments for numerous points. If someone disagrees with, like, let's just say, I'll keep it to me. Someone disagrees with me, that doesn't mean they are foolish. We don't have to draw such hard lines. You say something like this, Angel. I disagree with that point, and here's why. And you gave some points, but you don't have to call me fat and then tell me I'm a fool. So in that first sentence, you're like, hey, let me talk to the fat fool. You know, I don't know what I did. I don't know what the fuck I did to deserve that, Jelly or Angel. So, you know, that's just a little food for thought. You know, it doesn't mean, you know, you could be right. I could be right. My whole issue with winning games is that we do this every year. Like, if we're tired of the cyclical bullshit that the Jets are in and therefore us, what we have to endure, I would think more fans would hope for different outcomes. Like what we do every year is we suck and then we win games, except for that one year we were 7-3 and we thought we were going to be great. And then and I think that was 2022. And then we lost every game. That was a little flipperoony for us. But generally speaking, what we do is we suck. And then once we're out of it, we start to win. And I'm tired of it, man. Like, I would just love to see us just go, you know what? Pack the bags, you know? So I'm just hoping for something different. And not just for me, buddy, for you, you know, for you, Angel. So that's the whole thing with that. So am I a fool? Maybe. I hate rooting against the team. Let me tell you something. This is what I'm going to say loud and proud. The people that just stay rooting for wins, that shit's easy. It is not an easy thing to root against the team that I love. That is hard. That takes conviction. It takes commitment to the overall plan. I'm willing to suffer and sacrifice for the long-term goal. Winning, shit, anybody can root for a win. It's Team Tank that has the conviction, the wherewithal to think long-term. That said, feel how you feel, right? Anybody. Now, I don't always want to draft O-line. I wanted to draft offensive line last year. So you got that, you know, you got that. And I'm saying this year, I don't love the whole offensive line crop. So maybe it's not a smart thing to do, but I would really love to just finish the, like, right tackle. Even if Morgan Moses comes back, it's a little bit of a question mark, and it would be good to just have it finished. And like, how about this? Imagine this. That the Jets have a young offensive line together for 5-6 years. Wouldn't that be something? We don't do that either. Why are we rooting against that kind of shit? Yes, it's less sexy, but boy, oh boy, would it be nice to know that we're going in week after week with the same offensive line for 5 years. We haven't done that since Mangold was here, dude. So I'm a big fan of that. But your points are fine too. Draft defense. If we go defense, you know, defensive tackle, if DJ Reed is gone and we got to go cornerback, like, okay, I'm not necessarily anti. I just have my preferences. And I haven't even started digging in yet, man. Just very little cursory stuff. So we'll see where I land when we start to get, you know, out of the season. I start to really kind of look deeper and watch a lot of stuff. And so we'll see where I land. But right now, I'm just a fan of, I mean, optimally, I'd love to have our offensive line completed rather than, okay, you know, we're changing the right tackle every year, something like that. I'm done with that shit. I'd love to see it done. So that's all.
So I agree with Green Bean to an extent, but I like what Angel's saying right here. I think right tackle is going to be a big need. I don't want to spend a first-round pick on one because so many teams across the league they find talent in other rounds. Not to mention, if you get Vrabel, maybe you get a shot at Jedrick Wills. Remember, Jedrick Wills, while he's been a left tackle his entire career in the NFL, he was exclusively a right tackle at Alabama when he was drafted. So it's not totally out of the realm of possibility. If you want to take a one-year prove-it deal, him versus Moses, see if he could reclaim any kind of starting caliberness there, and then maybe he could be the heir apparent to Morgan Moses. Who knows? I would like that little bit of a swing, and then that opens up your pick, like Angel said, for defense, quarterback, or tight end. To me, tight end is the spot that I would really like to get like a good tight end. I don't know if it necessarily has to be a first round. I think if we did do that, I'd like to trade down a little bit, or stick and pick a tight end in the second round. I do like the idea of going defense. Quarterback, I really have no idea on if I want them to do that. I feel like I could very much see them like punt on it for a year and go all in on the 2026 crop. But I don't know. I go either way on it. Matt, your thoughts on this particular super chat?
I like it. I think we should continue to name call each other instead of having rational discussions about our football team. No, in all seriousness, I think the Jets should probably go defense in the first round. With that being said, like I can't be mad at the idea of finishing out your offensive line. Like I just don't have it in me to go like, damn it, they spent a first round pick on an offensive lineman and now they're going to have two bookend tackles, an awesome guard at 27 years old they found in free agency, and two other interior guys who they landed in the draft and have been good and are 25 years younger, or 25 years or younger. Like I just can't get myself to that spot. I think they should draft an offensive lineman at some point. I don't think I would do it in round one, but if your plan was, I'm just using this as an example, you draft defensive line in the first round, maybe a tight end in the second round, and then going around in the third round, and you want to take a tackle not named Max Mitchell or Carter Warren to sit a year behind Morgan Moses and then eventually take over at right tackle. Like, I think that's also a good way to go about building it. So I wouldn't hate the pick, but I can't say that it's my preference at this moment.
And the chat seems to not like me. And I guess it's going to be myself that gets frozen. Throw this up here real quick. Dante says, Reddick shouldn't be GM, but would be great in searching for a GM. He's got a lot of context. So, Matt, I'll throw this one to you, and I'm going to be frozen.
Yes. So this is essentially what the Jets are trying to do right now with their search firm and Mike Tannenbaum. If the Jets hired Riddick to help them out with their GM search, it would essentially be the same thing that they have going on right now with the 33rd team. So I agree with Dante's comment here, but I just, and this is a name that I feel like he gets floated out almost as often as Bill Cowher. Remember being like, after Bill Cowher stepped away and went to TV, every couple of years would be like, oh, he's going to come out and coach, and just never happens. I feel like we do this with Riddick every couple of years as well here.
Yeah, that's such a great pull, because like, you know, it was like every other year Jets fans in particular, I don't know, I can't speak for other fans, but there were like rumors that he was coming. Jets fans were like, dude, Bill Cowher, yeah, and he'd be like, I ain't coaching, man. I'm you know, fucking tired. I'm done. And but you know, the rumors would swirl. You nailed it. You know, Dante, the thing is that like we have a group that's doing that. So like folding him in now, I mean, it's like they're already me, which I think is a little insulting. Shit. They should at least say, hey man, how you doing? You know, we're not going to hire you, right? I'm like, yeah, of course. I mean, I would do a fucking great job, but I'm not stupid. You know what I mean? What do you think? I fucking born yesterday? I know how this goes, but at least call me. Say, hey man, you know, thanks for sending in your fucking stats, your deets, you know, but yeah, I mean, like, so bringing him in for a consult, like remember, Dante, you ever heard the term too many cooks in the kitchen? Got to be careful with that kind of stuff, because then you just muddy the water. It's like somebody has to be the boss in any given hierarchy. Somebody, yes, you can have partnerships and boards and all, everybody gets their voice, but then there's somebody that sits at the head of the table. And so when you start bringing in different guys with different stuff, it can convolute the process. So we want to be careful with that kind of stuff. Not that he wouldn't potentially be good in that role if that's the route we went, but we're interviewing him to actually fill the position. He took the interview, so he's at least on the, you know, initially interested in hearing what has to be said in the interview. Well, he didn't interview yet, but he's. I think it's what, tomorrow,
It's
maybe.
rumored. I think he's rumored to be on the list. Schefter was the one that said it. I think on Saturday or Sunday. I didn't see when he's supposed to come in. I heard it was this week.
Yeah, maybe it's all hearsay at this point. But so that last comment I made could be unfounded. But point being, you know, we already have a group that's doing that, so I wouldn't tinker with it.
Boys and girls,
tinker.
I'm gonna throw it over to Matt to acknowledge one of our sponsors.
Hey fellas, are you spending the holidays with your new partners, family, and want to make a good impression? Well, you can make a great first impression with Chubbies. Chubbies is perfect for nailing that holiday look while keeping things relaxed and fun. From family dinners to holiday parties, Chubbies has you covered so you can focus on being yourself and letting the good vibes roll. Chubbies is home of the ultra cozy comfort clothes that'll keep you feeling warm and looking better as the weather gets progressively worse and worse. From their flannels to their warm pullovers to their cozy quarter zips, Chubbies has all the winter ready threads for that outdoor football game. If you're going to the game on Sunday, it's going to be cold. The pumpkin patch adventure, or even the weekend bonfire. This holiday season, elevate your style and those around you with Chubbies. Chubbies is also a fantastic gift for someone else if you're stumped on what to get them. If you're a last-minute shopper, now's your chance. For a limited time, Chubbies is giving our listeners 20% off using our code TALKIN at chubbiesshorts.com. I am rocking the nice flannel today. I know our boys Ryan and Green Bean are doing the same. Very
Stretches. It's like I've never owned a flannel that's got four-way stretch. It's nice. The pants are
It's the
stretchy
best.
too. I'm like wearing sweatpants. You get a chubby in these and no one, well, they'd probably know because they stretch a little bit, but that's all right.
That's where it came from, I think.
Definitely, it's got to be. Although they
my
started with like
assumption.
swim trunks and shorts and probably like, this chubby's going to be seen out the bottom of your chubbies. I think that's how it went.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Let me say one thing about it. So it's holiday season. If you're going to buy yourself a gift, which I always do every year, I'm buying stuff for everybody and I'm like, that's awesome. It's just going to get swallowed into my festive nature and then I'm going to forget. It's going to show up for me. This is the kind of thing, man, because look, you get the 20% off using our code, but I'm being completely honest when I tell you, I love the shirt, the pants, the shorts, the Friday shirt that we got a couple months back. Like, it's truly the best stuff. And if you got if you're buying gifts for dudes, they're going to love it. They're going to love it. It's not just going to Costco and picking something off the stack of 9,000 flannels, which are okay too. I do that. But this is actually something, it's different, man. If you had never worn Chubbies, which I didn't before, like this year, it's a game changer.
JV says, if I buy my wife anything named Chubbies, she will divorce me.
I get it. Before we even had the sponsorship, I would wear the Chubbies bathing suits. So this is a long time coming.
It's delightful. Absolutely delightful. The pants are probably I like the flannel. Don't get me wrong. I love the flannel, but the pants I can actually wear to work, which is like super nice.
And
don't have
great.
to feel like a stiff going to work. Good thing. Chubby, stiff. The jokes just write themselves with this stuff. Bum. Hennessy says, I like Jordan Travis as a prospect, but I'm not putting all my eggs in the Jordan Travis basket. No, I don't think you should either, which is why I sort of liken Jordan Travis to Christian Hackenberg in that sense. And it's not that I consider both players on the same level by any means, or that they're similar in any capacity. It's more so you have a quarterback that's young, that hasn't seen the field, and you're looking at a draft class in the future that does look better than where you are currently sitting right now. Don't pass on the quarterback prospect. Do your research. If you like Milroe, if you like Ewers, if you like Carson Beck, whatever it is, if you like one of these quarterbacks, pull the trigger. Go get him. Jordan Travis should not impede you from getting your guy if you really like one. I tend to be the mindset right now, and I hold my opinion as if it can be changed. I would probably steer away from quarterback right now and just focus on building up the rest of this team. And then, if you want to take a swing in the mid rounds for another guy, I'm okay with that. But by and large, I don't think I'm going to use premium asset on a quarterback this year, especially if we think Rodgers is coming back. Bean, your thoughts on Jordan Travis and putting all your eggs in that basket?
First of all, it depends on where we're getting the eggs. All right. Because these China silicone eggs, we got to be careful with that, Hennessy. I know you know.
Eggs? What?
You didn't see that shit? Oh, it's getting nuts out there.
I don't know.
We got fucking drones. We got
drones everywhere. Fucking aliens.
So
We've been talking about the drones for like 3 weeks. Like, what's going on?
My sister lives in like right outside of Point Pleasant. She's like, dude, I can look out my. It's crazy. She's like, they're like orbs and shit. So, but that all said, Jordan Travis, I from what I've heard, has nothing to do with the drones. So let's look at him for a second. I like Jordan Travis a whole bunch. Now, we took him, as we know, as a project, right? Like, so we know, like, it wasn't like we drafted him and hoped that he supplanted, anybody. I'd love to see him get a chance. I mean, he's as good of a prospect as you're going to get, like, outside of that, top half of the first round. Like, why not? Why not him, so to speak? But we don't know what the new coaching staff is gonna think. So what I'm thinking, I actually agree with what Ryan said, like about, I'm not using premium capital on a quarterback this year. I'm thinking that, especially if the last 3 games are positive in the Aaron Rodgers department, I think it makes sense just to kind of bring those guys back and use this draft to get whatever you think. Where are the holes, right? So again, I say it, and Angel or what, right? Angel's not, he's not gonna like it, but offensive line, right tackle, and we could bring Morgan Moses back. He's a friggin' Iron Man. I mean, how do you not love him? It's nothing against him, but I think he is. He's old. He's playing through stuff. How long can a guy do that? So, and I think Matt brought it up, even if you have like the heir apparent, like that's a nice big tight end. That's like a premium tight end could be good. And if it's defense, but like whatever you think is going to help, if we're going to run it back, whatever's going to help next year be solid, is really what I'm in favor of. So, I'm not putting all my eggs in the Jordan Travis basket, but I'd love to see him get some time on the field next year and just kind of start that process of working him in and seeing what you think, developing him, seeing how healthy he is and throwing the ball around and all that shit, while we already know who the starter and backup is. That kind of a thing. And then who knows, maybe they are in love with him. They're like, dude, this guy's going to be great. We love him. Who knows? Maybe that's what happens. But I agree, Hennessy. I wouldn't put all my silicone eggs in that basket. That's for sure.
I see some comments that our audio is clipping in and out. Are you guys hearing any audio clipping?
Yeah. No, I'm seeing it. Well, I'm not seeing the audio, but I am seeing swirls, and it's like in the last 15 minutes, the screen has refreshed on itself, like went black and reloaded. 3 times in the last maybe 15 minutes.
I haven't gotten anything other than stream is excellent.
I blame Optima.
Oh, Daddy's getting fiber on Thursday. Let's go.
Oh, there you go.
I'm pumped. Yeah, Warwick Valley Telephone coming through in the clutch. 1,000 up, 1,000 down. Oh, I wanted it for so long. Matt, your thoughts on Jordan Travis and the eggs in a proverbial basket?
It's just hard because we haven't seen this guy. Like, if we saw him in the preseason or heard things on the practice field about Jordan Travis this year, maybe I'd feel a little bit better. And maybe that's unfair from me because he was drafted and we knew that they had the injury. I was just hoping that you would see him at some point this year. And for him to miss essentially the entirety of the season, like the injury is over a year ago now at this point. It was November of last year when he got hurt. So he's going to miss like, not a math guy, but what, like 20 months of football before he's actually playing again. Like, that's really hard to recover from. I don't know. And again, I guess it's going to be dependent on what the GM that gets hired, how they evaluated him a couple years ago. That's going to be really the big key. But I am not banking on him being a long-term answer. I think his best case is a backup for a few years.
Got Dante coming in. Thank you, Dante. Says, I want a big guy as quarterback next. If he comes out, Alar has good fundamentals but needs work. I want Travis to work out, but he's a bit undersized and he's been a non-factor for so long. Yeah, I find myself gravitating towards next year's draft class right now, and I think that's probably where I'm going to end up, short of like Rodgers being gone. If they pull the plug on Rodgers, I don't know if I'm really in the let's just go all in on the tank situation for next year, because I do think you wind up losing guys like potentially Garrett, potentially Breece, and it just feels like more of a waste of a season. I think I'd probably be a little more inclined to look harder at the quarterbacks. But yeah, Alar's kind of the one. Like, could you imagine? You got Olu, the Penn State left tackle. You get Warren, the Penn State tight end this year. You get Alar, the Penn State quarterback, and all of a sudden he feels comfortable because he's got his left tackle from college. He's got his security blanket in the tight end, and then you've got Garrett Wilson. You got the running backs. Like, dream. That's where the dream. Hopefully he looks good. And then you know what? If that's your guy, throw the assets at the wall. Go up and get him at the top of the draft if that's what you got to do. That's kind of where my head is at right now. Matt, your thoughts on next year's quarterback class and maybe how that could play into this year's decision-making?
Yeah, I liked Drew Alar coming out of the draft. I thought he's probably, at this point, probably a second rounder if he decided to come out, but wouldn't have shocked me if he ended up working his way to be a first-round pick when it was all said and done. He goes back to school, and he's going to be in a much better quarterback draft class this upcoming year. I have my concerns with each one of these guys. I think the only one that'll be available when the Jets are picking would be Jalen Milroe. I think both Shador and Cam Ward are going to come off the board before the Jets pick. I love Milroe's athleticism. His accuracy really worries me. And I don't know if I'd feel comfortable using a top 10 pick on him, because I think that's would put unfair expectations on him. If he made it to the Jets in the second round and they took that swing, I think that's a little bit different, right? Like, if you're able to use a first round pick and try to shore up the defense, and then Milroe's there for you in the second round, okay, I can maybe sell myself on that a little bit more. But in all likelihood, I think he is going in the first round, and I don't love him. I'm not in love with him enough to take him with that first round pedigree.
Yeah, so his completion percentage, it has got, oh no, I guess it took a dip down. 65.6 last year, 64.9 this year. Had a hell of a lot of rushing touchdowns. Definitely a little bit of a freak in that regard. His drop percentage for receivers, he had 8 drops last year. He had 16 drops this year. So his adjusted completion percentage is closer to 75%. All things said and done, I'd have to see where that ranks among all quarterbacks. But definitely struggled a little bit. Definitely seen more as the athletic freak than anything else. Bean, your thoughts on this quarterback class, and then how next year's quarterback class could play into it based on, I guess, where we're sitting right now.
Yeah, I think, what Matt was talking about is kind of where I sit. I actually like Milroe, but what the Jets like to do is kind of, get rid of everybody and then draft a quarterback and go, hey, buddy, especially pairing him with our fucking rookie GM and rookie head coach. Get Aaron Glenn in here and Riddick, and let's get Milroe, and let's fucking let him figure it out. And then knowing full well that it takes us about 9 weeks to go, you stop, so let's do that. But like, if we were to take a guy like him, I would love to see him sit for a full year. Like, I would love to finally do that. That said, just like Matt, like, I don't want to use my first round pick on a quarterback this year, especially if we're floating around 10, 11. Like, you're missing out on the top guys, and you're probably reaching, a smidgen. Although, look, we haven't seen the combine and all. You know how it happens, guys. Like, again, we talk about it often. This time of the season in 2021, Zach Wilson was not being talked about as a first-round pick. And then all of a sudden, you know what I mean? It was really a crop of three, which was obviously Trevor Lawrence. Then there was Justin Fields at 2, and then Trey Lance was in the conversation. And his concern was he's raw, not a lot of tape, that kind of stuff. But and then all of a sudden, Zach just you know what happened? He threw that pass in his pro day. Remember? Like NFL execs, like they're so like easily dazzled. Like, ooh, I could do. Didn't they
duplicate it for the JJ pro day too? I think JJ's pro day last year they tried to do like the Zach Wilson throw.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's right. And so people go, oh my God, I wasn't even looking at him. But now that he did that, it's like he's fucking wearing shorts and flip-flops, dude. Like, can we fucking relax a little bit? Yes, it's beautiful and all that. So I foresee a little bit of that quarterback fever that happens. Now, maybe not. A couple years ago when it was what was the draft? It had the guy, Malik Willis and like those guys. The quarterbacks weren't taken up top. So it happens, but I do think Milroe will find his way into that first round conversation and potentially high in the first round because he's a quarterback. And especially if it's a team like let's say the Rams or just somebody like them that has a quarterback on the back end, on the back nine, speaking Ryan's language, on the back nine. And you're going to sit him for a minute and you feel confident in your offensive staff and their ability to develop and all that shit. Like, I could see it, man. Like, hey, man, I want to get this guy now and start working on him because I think he's a good guy to do that with. There's like I think you said it, Ryan, like athletic freak, or maybe it was Matt.
Yeah.
Freak. So, but about the Jets, I really like him, but not to come in and be the guy, right? I just don't see it's gonna blow up in our faces like every other time we've tried it. I'm sick of it. So if he makes it to the second and he's there on the board with our pick, I mean, you look around and you go, okay, I would be fine with that. I don't see it happening.
No, I don't think I see it happening either. I think he's going to go in the first round. The first teams that I think people will be looking at will be the Jets, New Orleans at 10 right now. But I think, like you said, the Rams currently sitting at 21, Seattle at 18. Both those teams I could see great landing spots for Milroe. The Rams in particular, but Seattle is in that same kind of realm of
exactly right.
San Francisco at 15 is not an insane spot either. Detroit at 31 could be a potential landing spot for him. I think when you look at the top end of the second round, now you're talking teams like, Tennessee would probably consider it there. The Browns would probably consider it there. And then obviously the Jets and Saints kind of run it back again. I don't know. It's fascinating to kind of see how this is going to play out. And I don't have a great read on it. Because even if Rodgers is back, I don't really want to burn a first round pick or a high second round pick even on the quarterback. When I feel like I mean, do we want to go like all in next year? Is that like kind of where our head's at? Because we have Rodgers, or is it more like we got the all in stuff here already? Let's just try to continue to build it up from there. Like, are we in a different stage of all in?
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Bean, what are your thoughts on that?
I think you said it well. It's like it's not necessarily not all in, but it's not at all costs, right? It's a different phase, different stage of all in. And that's kind of what I was talking about before. Like, if we're going to run it back with A-Rod and Devontae Adams and in large part this crew, you can see you took this year, you're looking around, you got some holes. We need a right tackle. We need some defensive tackle help on the, like this everybody running on us bullshit. It's got to stop. We might need a cornerback. Safety might need some love. It never gets really very much love, so we know where the holes are. Let's plug them. Let's try to get some talent into those holes so this thing can work. But again, not like trading away everything for the one, for the 1 year. I think it's a little bit more caution.
Matt, what about you? What do you think about this like all in sort of mentality, and how does that maybe change from this year going into next year?
Yeah, I don't think it would be all in. I think it would be looked at as a competitive retool if they were to bring back Aaron Rodgers with it. It would be, all right, like the GM and new coaches coming in, and they understand that they have an opportunity where, maybe it works this year with Aaron Rodgers and everything breaks right. But with the understanding that, like, it's not like Rodgers might be one and done with you, but you're not going to be one and done. So it's like, set the Jets up for success both now and in the future. It's not like sell off everything you have and, tear it to the ground and build it back up. It's, see what you have, add to it, but don't do it to a point where you're putting yourself in like a cap hell or something like that.
Yeah. Well said. All the way around. I think the chat probably feels in a similar kind of mindset. Not to mention like the set yourself up for the future. Like, when was the last time we really felt like we had a good team in place and then we got the quarterback? Like, I feel like we got the quarterback with Zach Wilson and then we built some good pieces around him. Sam was just in a barren wasteland. Geno, really, the only season I felt like we had a really good shot was that 2015 year when he got his jaw broken. Yeah. And then, like, the last time would have been Sanchez. We had some pretty nice success there. Let's try to do that again.
Yeah. Like, and then he came in and he was the weak link. But it's so funny too, because, and we've talked about this a few times, but like Sanchez was we have the number one rushing attack, top three offensive line, number one defense. And then there's this fucking young quarterback running around eating hot dogs and picking boogers and wiping it on his backup quarterbacks. And you know what I mean? It's like all this weird shit. Remember in Hard Knocks, he put like the rainbow unicorn on everybody's computers? That's what he was focused on. So it's like, come on, man. Can we just get a guy? But when you look at him and what he was providing back then compared to like what Zach did, it's like, oh man, do I miss Sanchez. It's just crazy. Like, how low can you go? How low can you go? That's us. We're like, oh, this has got to be the worst. And they're like, no. You wait. We got some shit for you. Like, that's what it is.
Geno Smith, we got our jaw punched in, then you get your balls kicked in on the final game of the season, and then you have to you're forced into paying Fitzpatrick a ton of money for another year when you don't really want to do it because there's no other quarterback options you can really go with. And then you're like, all right, we finally got the third overall quarterback. But this is the guy, it was supposed to be the number one overall quarterback. He fell to as a 3. It's all going to work out. But then our offensive line and everything else sucks. And then we get Zach, and we didn't have to trade anything like during the Sam years. But then he sucks. And it's just one. And then we finally get Rodgers, and he sucks. It's like, damn it. I'm not saying it can't get any worse because it always can.
Yeah.
E-Boogie comes in and says, no, sell everything to win it all. Green bean for GM.
Fucking E-Boogie's top 3 in my heart, man. Like, that guy is consistently just aces in my book. I love E-Boogie.
Infrared
he shows up. We always know when he shows up in like the beanbagger Wednesday night. Like, we're talking and we're looking at whatever, and all of a sudden you'll see on the screen, like on the Zoom screen, like, like something like, he sucks, like just written like with his finger, like he's using like the drawing thing. It just all of a sudden pops up across the screen. Like, oh, hey, E-Boogie, what's up, man?
That's hilarious.
He does it all. It's funny. Yeah, he's the best.
Good people. Infrared, throwing some bean love, says, Olu actually runs to the end zone to celebrate after every red zone touchdown. When's the last time we ever seen that shit from our left tackle the last decade? Mekhi Becton wasn't running anywhere.
Well, no, that's not true. Interestingly enough, at the end of the 2020 season, when everybody had packed it in, we talked about this. Mekhi Becton was like the one guy who was excited for touchdowns, and he would run in, and do the whole thing. So not quite. I'm with you, Infrared, but don't forget Mekhi Becton. At one time, we were calling him Mount Becton, Highway 77, all that shit. he was yelling at the coach, run my son. Like he was a passionate, fun guy to root for. And the Eagles love him now. So he really, the whole thing had soured here. But that first year, man, he was doing that kind of shit. We forget
JK
that.
Comes in. He says, is this the first time that none of you are repping any Jets gear on the show? Many the Jets have really beat us down all year.
Oh, we're in our cozies, the chubbies, baby.
It's the own merch. It's the Talkin' Jets store merch. Rogers Wilson 24.
So
I guess we'll have to come up with another style shirt. The old noodle hasn't been coming up with any good ideas recently. But yeah.
Here you go, JK.
Sponsored merch. Comfortable. Stretchy. Chubbies.
20% off using the promo code Talkin', everybody.
See?
It's legit shit, dude. It's I love it because it's like when you sometimes in this life you gotta say and do things that maybe not are you're like I don't know, I don't fucking really use this shit, but this is a great sponsor.
Matt has no idea that he's.
I was scrolling down through the comments. I look up and it's me full screen.
I wanted to throw the promo code on there. We're talking about chubbies. I figured give them the extra plug.
Yeah, sure.
And we got to look at you. It was fine. I liked it. Glad you weren't doing anything weird.
It was good. It was good.
I would have laughed and giggled.
Hey, wait, hold on.
Olu and McDonald.
Everybody, can we get some milk thumbs in this joint? I've been trying to get more qualifiers for the wheel later.
Milk thumbs.
We got 280 people in here, 87, and I got 86 likes. Can we smash the damn like? Let's go, everybody. Let's get some qualifiers for the wheel. You can win a jersey. You can win a pillow. You can win all kinds of stuff.
A DHgate jersey that might have numbers in the wrong thing and letters might be upside down, but that's okay. Cost us
we got the
$25.
Talkin' Jets fleshlight making its debut this week.
Bam! Courtesy of the mold that we made out of. Oh, I'm not going to say that. That gets too far.
Yeah. We're digging a hole.
We're going to get yanked off YouTube. Oh, 𝐒𝐫𝐞𝐞𝐳 comes in and says, Olu and McDonald are looking great. Yes or no? Yeah, look, I'm really happy with how this is all playing out right now. Olu looks like an absolute stud. I think Will McDonald will only get better with more help on the defensive line too. I think he's been the, I don't want to say the lone shining star on the defensive line, but from a pass rush perspective, he definitely has been. Yeah, when you're looking glass half full in this season, those two guys and Garrett are really the shining stars. I feel like Sherwood too. Hopefully we can retain him. I feel like that's pretty nice. Matt, what are your thoughts on how Olu and McDonald have looked so far?
I think that is a silver lining to the 2024 season. Finding a franchise left tackle and finding someone who could give you double-digit sacks in a year is a good thing. And you're right. I think Will McDonald will be better next year. Unfortunately, he's playing with a pylon on the other opposing edge. They've gotten absolutely nothing. Zero, zilch out of Hassan Reddick all year. I would rather Green Bean strap up his 1970 helmet and go out there and try to rush the passer than watch Hassan Reddick go 50% the rest of the year like he has. So yeah, I think both guys just continue to get better. They've been very good.
Let me make this proclamation right fucking now.
All right.
I'm 52 years old as of Sunday. You give me 50% of the defensive snaps, I will get at least one sack. I'm fucking telling you, dude. I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out.
The first play he comes up, his helmet will be sideways.
Covered in blood. My eyes all popped out.
It's not going to be your blood, though.
Terrible.
It's going to be someone else's blood.
Yeah, my hope is I'm like, I'm so wiry and sling. I'm so old and so fucking slow that they don't know what to do with me.
We'll put you up against Tyron Smith. You'll get the sack first play. Got it.
Yeah, there you go. And then I jump on the quarterback's back and he just carries me around and throws an 80-yard bomb. I'm like,
horse collar. It still counts.
Right? Yeah. 9 penalties, face mask, horse collar, tripping.
Kicking people in the penis.
I can do it. I would try. If they said, hey, you want to go out there? I'd say yes. It wouldn't even be a second thought. What do I need? Socks?
I got so excited over this conversation, I forgot to ask you about Olu and McDonald. What are your thoughts on those two guys?
Dude, I want to just point something out here. When you guys are wondering who knows what about what with Jets football, didn't we fucking tell you on draft day how great Will McDonald was going to be? All right? Right? Go back and watch it. You'll see. We loved it. It was our guy the whole time. I mean, he's the delight, man. Come on. I mean, Olu, interestingly enough, actually was. I mean, a lot of us, and we had our different guys for offensive line. And, we talked a lot about the offensive line last year. And then we were split. There was a major contingent that wanted Bowers. And I think rightfully so. It obviously made sense. But like me, I believe Matt, evidenced by how many times he went, offensive line in the draft video. So like we were definitely on that side. So like Olu was a guy we wanted. Will McDonald, not so much. But we're rooting for him. And I'm telling you, it's a delight to see kind of how he's unfolding as this pass rush specialist. Because I'll tell you, the concern, right? Like we knew he had the speed, we knew he had the bend and all that shit, but we're seeing some power. We're seeing some inside moves. That spin is just delightful to watch. I mean, Frankie from Flatbush calls him Spinny McWinnie, and I love it. It's fun to say. I mean, I think it's he nailed it with that one, Spinny McWinnie. And I mean, it's exciting to see. Look, guys, we haven't had, say what you want about Joe Douglas, and he's gone, so any arguments really aren't necessary. But the last time that we hit on consistent first-round picks like Olu, young career, we don't know, but so far so good. Will McDonald is really starting to develop. Look, you have JJ. And, he's hurt this year, but we know what he is. And Sauce is having a rough year, but we know what he is. Garrett Wilson, like it's been even our second round picks, Pittman and Breece, like it's been a long time since we could say that our picks were hits. I mean, look, how many years we went like 15 years or like 13 years without signing any of our first round picks to a second contract. Quinnen broke that record, that streak. So it's like, we forget just how bad it can be, I think, out there. So it's nice to see.
Second round picks too. There was a long stretch of second round picks we just could not figure out.
Yeah, so especially wide receivers. We love to take second round wide receivers, which is smart, but we always take the guy you're like, oh, him? Like when they took Devin Smith, granted, the guys that were around him that I liked a lot better, like some of them had a little bit, better careers, but really not what you would have hoped. But Devin Smith, it was like, oh, really? That's the one we like? So, yeah, it took a long time to nail that second round pick shit. Maybe he broke the curse.
We were talking on draft night. We're like, edge rusher is the one thing I don't want to see us go in the first round. Fucking sure as shit. They listed him as a linebacker when we took him. We're like, what? What are you talking about?
We didn't know what to think.
Dude, in hindsight, the players we probably would have ended up with had we gone the direction of O-line in that draft would have been Anton Harrison, would have been, I guess we would have kept Bryce Huff then, and then you probably get Brock Bowers in this last draft. That's probably the difference. It's probably Bowers, Huff, and Harrison instead of Olu, McDonald, and I guess that would really be it.
And let me tell you, you can, I do a lot of the mocks with, with Dom and everything. Anton Harrison was my guy in that draft. Like that's who I wanted. But I'm going to tell you straight up, my guy or not, I was loving watching Will McDonald eat his lunch on Sunday. It was like, dude, Anton Harrison's he's got nothing for Will. I mean, he was holding him. He was grabbing him around the neck. He did anything and everything he could to stop Will McDonald. He was like, holy shit, man, I didn't prepare for this guy.
No.
Nice to see.
Feels good.
Screw Anton Harrison.
Yeah, fuck that guy. Bowers, too. He looks like he's 50. JK comes in here. He says, Vrabel, Graham, Milrow. and a 1 year with Aaron Rodgers deal. Graham, which Graham is he talking about?
I think Mason Graham. I don't know that for sure because it would be coach first round pick, Jalen Milrow, second round pick. Maybe that's what he's saying.
I think that's what he's saying.
Graham as a GM candidate. So I was doing a Google search, but then I think I landed on he means Mason Graham.
I think you're right. That makes a lot more
he clarified.
sense.
He said Mason Graham. So you're thinking that Milrow gets to the second then? Is that what you're saying,
Graham
JK?
makes it to
Hurry
8
up,
or 10.
tell us.
I don't think those players make it to us. I think Milrow goes in the first. I think Graham goes before us. But I like it.
I hope Graham makes it to the Jets because I think he is going to be a very good player. And putting him next to Quinnen Williams would be unbelievable.
Especially in that 3-4.
Yeah. 3-4. No, don't do that to us, Bean. Don't do that to us, Bean.
I know.
I would like to see us go D-line. I shouldn't say D-line, but like if you can get Graham, Graham is the one I want. And then
I'm fine with it.
I like Abdul Carter, but like I kind of want to give JJ a shot. So like I wasn't really in on cornerback. Safety, I don't particularly want. I really want to trade down for someone that wants GT. That's kind of I think where my would like to be. Give me some extra assets to drop back a few picks. Give me the tight end in the first round, and then we're cooking.
Well, I think the good news is the only GM dumb enough to trade up for a running back is probably the Cowboys owner. Jerry Jones.
Right behind us.
I was gonna say maybe that because in my head I'm going, who's trading up for a running back? And I said
Cincinnati at 13, Dallas at 14. Those are the two teams.
But didn't Detroit do it for what's his name a couple years ago?
Yeah, Gibbs
did
did
they trade up for him or
they
did
did?
I believe so.
They moved up in front. Oh, you know what? Did they have the pick in front of it? No, because they took Jameson Williams. Was that same year?
No, I thought they traded up for Jameson.
They traded up for Jameson Williams.
They made some moves. So maybe Jahmyr Gibbs was their natural pick. Let me take a look. What year
Gibbs
was that?
might have been their natural pick, and they traded up for no, you know what? I have no idea now. Were they
I
the
feel
same?
like
I thought
they
they were the
traded
same
up.
draft.
No, it wasn't. So Jahmyr Gibbs was pick 12. Jack Campbell was pick 18.
Jack Campbell. Yeah.
So that had to be how many years ago was that?
But does it
3?
say if it was a trade, Matt? You look what you're looking at?
I just looked at Pro Football Reference, and I don't remember off the top of my head.
What year is it?
23.
So 2 years ago. Williams would have been 3 years ago because he was the same year as Garrett Wilson. Because I know Jameson Williams was in that run of it was like Olave. It was Drake London, Garrett Wilson, Olave, and Jameson Williams all in
all right,
4 in 5 picks or something like that.
All right, here's how it goes. So Detroit Lions took Gibbs at pick 12. Here's how it went. Multiple trades. Cleveland traded the first and third round selections to Houston alongside 2022, 2024 firsts and fourth round selection in exchange for Deshaun Watson. Houston then traded with Arizona, and Arizona traded with Detroit. Oh, you fucking went off my screen. Hold on. Then C number 6, Detroit, Arizona. All right, here we go. So Detroit traded first and third round selections, 6th and 81st overall to Arizona in exchange for first, second, and fifth round selections, 12. So they traded back.
Okay, yeah. They didn't trade up. They moved back.
There it is. I felt like there was something, but I had it backwards. So I was wrong on that one. But something happened.
Sodak comes in and says, gotta think JD has more draft hits than most GMs. I would say of recent years, maybe his first 2 drafts were so abysmal. I feel like it kind of washes it out. I think I would say definitely better than a lot of our previous GMs. And I'm not confident we're going to get a better GM this cycle. I mean, we might.
Yeah.
It's entirely possible.
Going to be tough.
I held Douglas in pretty high regard, but I understand moving off of him. I think it was the right move.
Well, 2020 was rough. And you can see a lot to do with this damn coaching staff. Becton was the first round pick. Obviously, there were issues. A lot of them were legit, so I'm not taking it away. But he goes down to the Eagles, and that coaching staff can figure out, like, oh yeah, well, he's injured. He doesn't have the the lateral movement anymore. So let's fucking move him inside. He's going to be a dominant, line pushing guard. We couldn't figure that out because we were all stuck in our heads, and we don't like him anymore. And him and Mims are yucky. So we do that. So the 2020 and Braden Mann is also not looking terrible either.
Screw that guy. He cost us Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, there you go. But I'm just saying. So like our staff couldn't figure it out, but they go, and that happens in the NFL. I'm not like, necessarily saying, but like I think they destroyed Mimsy, as you guys know. But then you look at 2021. Yes, we have the Zach pick. But AVT, other than the injury, I mean, the guy's a stud. He's played most of this year. He's very, very good. So he's a hit. Granted, they traded 2/3 to move up for him, so that diminishes a touch. But he's a good pick, and that's the draft where we found Sherwood. That's the draft where you find Eccles. You know what I mean? So there are mid-round.
Michael Carter.
Michael Carter, right. They're all in there, man. So like, maybe the top end, you had 2 firsts and one of them's a whiff on Zach, but he found AVT. Sucks with Elijah Moore and Michael Carter the first, but we did get Michael Carter the second. You got Brandon Eccles and you got Jamie and Sherwood out of it. And they're, those are good ball players. So like, it's not as abysmal. Like, I think with Joe Douglas, it really boils down to Robert Saleh and the record. You know what I mean? And then you add Zach to it and Beck. Like, so when you put it all together, like you just can't justify 6 years, bro. And we've never passed 7 wins, whatever the reason. It's just, this is the team you built. This is the staff you got. This is the team you built. And we're 3 wins, 3-10. You know what I mean? It's like, or whatever, when they fired him, 3-9 or 3-8. So it's like, it makes sense. But it, like you said, Ryan, it's going to be tough because historically speaking, we don't hit on that many. When you talk about the first round picks consistently hitting after Becton, really, and then obviously Zach, but it's like, and then the mid-round finds, these guys that can come in and contribute. And then look at the undrafted free agents
and the trades. There was a lot of stuff to like about Douglas.
We're missing a key point in this. All the free agents, yes, but draft all those mid-round guys that you listed off are all on the defensive side of the ball.
Totally,
mid-round swings on offense were horrible.
That could be a nod towards the development on the defensive side from the coaching staff and lack of that on the offensive side.
Well, that's Joe Douglas too.
Yeah,
it is. If LaFleur was forced out the building because of Woody, that's got to be somewhat on him, I would think.
Yeah, but LaFleur wasn't necessarily. I liked LaFleur as a play caller. I don't know if LaFleur was necessarily developing talent on the offensive side of the ball.
Fair point.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, and we've talked about this 1,000 times, but Greg Knapp, the situation with Greg Knapp, threw this coaching staff into a tailspin. He was the guy. Like, he was the centerpiece. It afforded them the allowance to have a rookie quarterback coupled with a rookie offensive coordinator, coupled, added to a rookie head coach with a rookie a young GM. Like, Greg Knapp was the true, how we talk about Adam Gase being a quarterback guru, which is just so fucking stupid. But Knapp was a true quarterback whisperer. You look at guys like Young and Manning, they're like, bro, there's nobody like Knapp. And sadly and tragically, he got into that accident that took his life. And it's like, I don't think we ever really recovered from that. And like, I agree with Matt, like LaFleur was never here to develop anything. He didn't know how to do. He was just draw up the schemes. He's a good young offensive mind. He's today's NFL, so to speak, And we watched the tape. I'm sure you guys did too, every single week. And you're like, dude, there's 3 fucking guys. He's scheming everybody open. It's just, we can't complete. We can't do it. He's throwing 10 yards over their head, or he doesn't see him. Like, there was all that frustrating stuff. And it was his demise, because he didn't, Elijah Moore's telling him he sucks. And, sucks. Our whole lineage, there's always like, it's like we're just $1 short and a day late constantly.
Jimmy Jets gives 5 Talking Jets memberships. Thank you so much, Jimmy, for spreading the Christmas spirit. Boys and girls, drop those JETS emojis in there, courtesy of Jimmy Jets. We got Andrew Yale, Ohio Jets fan 1, Donnie Budden, Sodak Jets, and Alfredo all getting memberships. Thank you. Thank you so much for your courtesy and your generosity.
Man.
Asks us, which of the Jets' undrafted free agents you guys see them keeping next year? Well, undrafted free agents are under contract for what, 3 years when they have a deal? So I would say all of them that they brought in last year. And maybe 𝐒𝐫𝐞𝐞𝐫𝐢. 𝐒𝐒𝐫𝐞𝐫𝐞𝐿's undrafted.
And his contract's up.
Yeah. So which one do you see him keeping? I hope they keep 𝐒𝐒𝐫𝐞𝐞𝐫𝐢.
I'd love to see them keep. I mean, LT3, like you said, like the keep is, but like who do they want around, right?
Sure.
The next, I think the next regime coming in, looking at guys like LT3, like Eric Watts, like Braden McGregor, these are good developmental guys. And like you said, right, I'm a big fan of 𝐒𝐫𝐞𝐞𝐫𝐢. I don't know. You want to fucking keep Brownlee? What do you think, Matt? You fucking Gibson? What do you think?
Yeah, Xavier, they need to trot Xavier Gibson out for another 36 games at kick returner before they
we got to see what he's made of, right?
Fucking Corley's got to see the field. I'm going to lose.
Oh, sick of it.
I'm going to lose my damn mind. 4th best receiver in the draft, my ass.
My
That's a fireable
butthole.
offense from Joe Douglas having Malachi Corley ranked as his 4th wide receiver in this past draft.
It's absurd.
Yeah.
Sam asking, what do you think of what do you think of interviewing assistant GMs from the Ravens, Steelers, or Eagles? I mean, I'm fine with it. I just don't know if the Ravens or Eagles assistant GMs are going to be like licking their chops after how Joe Douglas was like pushed out of the building when those were the coaching trees or like GM trees that he kind of came from. I feel like maybe a little less confident, but I don't think our GM has interviewed with us yet. I think we're going to be looking around the league. Matt, any thoughts on these teams?
There's no one from those 3 teams in particular that I've looked at and been like, oh yeah, that's my guy. But I'm going to steal one from the Chiefs. Mike Borgonzi, their assistant GM, is the candidate that I really like.
Be happy with that. Well, you know what? It's not, like, I think what Sam is saying makes a bunch of sense, right? Like stable organizations, consistent success, that kind of stuff. For the most part, the Eagles are a little bit more wishy-washy than the other two, but like the Steelers are, I mean, they're constantly good, right? And now you could attribute that to Tomlin. They've only had 3 head coaches in the last 60 fucking years. So there's a lot to be said for that side of it. But like, yeah, I get the point, and I'm a big fan of that. But you know what the Jets do often is we like to take the guy from the good team that lost the Super Bowl. We do it all the time. Salah's one of those. Salah's one. I mean, it just goes on. And I mean, it goes back, years and years. We take, he's one of the top guys, but he's not the guy. I want to go, like Matt just said, let's go to the Chiefs. They've won, 30 Super Bowls straight, and they're going to probably do it again if Detroit. I mean, it's ridiculous right now. Granted, they're getting some help from the NFL and Taylor Swift and the refs and everybody else. But that aside, let's go to somebody that's at the top of the heap. Let's do that for once. Let's get the guy. That said, that's why I like Dorsey. Don't forget, Dorsey has done this. He's the guy who picked Mahomes and Kelsey and what's his name, Tyreek Hill and on and on and on. So he's the guy who built that team. I like him. Dorsey Vrabel would justify me wearing chubbies every day, if you know what I mean, ladies and gentlemen.
Pants
calm
slightly
down,
tighter,
dude.
but still comfortable.
That's right. Exactly.
Sodak. JD's biggest mistake, not firing that Italian day one.
That's right. The security guard. That's the thing we were talking about, right? Were we talking about it here?
Yes, last week we did.
Yeah, right.
What was
we
the
all say,
security
it's
guard
Woody.
thing?
He's the only constant variable. Bullshit. That fucking security guard has been here a long time, man. He's right next to the coach. He's whispering. He cried with Stiggers on the phone. What's up with this guy? What's he really doing?
Pulling all the strings. Marionette. KF, thank you so much for the super chat. Matt, let's give us a, we'll go till like 10:05 real quick. Poll question.
Okay. Do another one.
Three of us. Can't foresee us having a worse record next year if Aaron is back. We probably won't be in contention for a top quarterback. So how can we finagle it? Look, I would love to not be in a position for a quarterback next year because Aaron Rodgers goes off. That is a great fucking problem to have. And if that is the case, I would turn and I would look at the Texans. I would look at the Chiefs and figure out how they got their quarterbacks at one point. Not CJ Stroud, but initially with Watson and with Mahomes. Those were good playoff teams that went up and got their guy. If we do well next year, sell the farm to go get the quarterback you want because you've got the roster built. You can figure it out. You don't need first-round picks. McVay took his first-round pick this year for the first time since 2016. I don't care. Get the quarterback if we have a good record. Those are my thoughts. Bean, your thoughts.
Here's what you do. KF 101. If we run it back with A-Rod, I'm with you. I can't see us being worse. I just because like it's like anomalous how this has all happened, right? It's been a weird season. From again, guys, if Zuerlein makes those kicks, we're right now a 7-win team. If like nothing else, right? Now we're going in the last 3. We're looking at 10. So it's like one of those things. We're 10 possible. We're in the playoff hunt, all that shit. Now, shoulda, woulda, coulda, and I get it. But it's been weird. I can't see us being worse either. So if we run it back and we're better, you know what we do? I can keep going. Aaron Rodgers plays till he's 52 years old. Fuck it.
Yeah, do you think, Matt, I'll throw that question over to you. If we have like a good year next year, like let's say we make the playoffs and Rodgers is like feeling good, you think he's coming back after that? Or was this just like a 3-year flash in the pan? And like, how do you handle that dead cap after that?
We might be dead in 2026. I can't think that far ahead. That's
just
so
fucking
long
meteor.
Drones.
2024. Yeah,
The drones.
they've made it to Long Island. I got the ring notifications 55,000 times. People posting pictures of the drones in the sky. They made their way to the island.
Dude, it's been crazy. Absolutely crazy. I like the theory that they're looking for like nuclear material. That feels like that's right. I don't know. Speculation. Talk. Hennessy. This staff would have Brian Thomas Jr. inactive.
Dude, I bet you're right. They go,
You're
he's
probably
not
not
ready.
wrong.
His routes, his toes aren't exactly what the
He
That's
can't
what
run
they
like
do.
a tight end. It's bullshit. He needs to know every position. Why can't he punt?
Why? Right. His punting is really substandard, and we just can't put him on the field. He's inactive. I think you're right, Hennessy. We suck.
KF coming in says, also, can you really see a serious alpha GM coming here and tell Woodrow no or let me do my job? I mean, that's the kind of GM we need. We need a GM that'll look at Woody and say, shut your dweeby ass up, go back in your $1 billion fucking helicopter and go do your thing. Go sell baby powder.
You
Let me handle the
remember
football team.
Remember draft day with Kevin Costner? And he
Yes.
goes in the room and he goes, everybody shut up and let me do my job. Shut up. That's what we need.
Yes.
That's what we need. Yeah, I can see it. I mean, I don't think like, you know, especially if somebody has experience, right? They can come in here and Woody's like, meh, 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 and they're like, hey, butthole, shut your fucking face or fire me. Shut up. Let me do my job or fire me. You know what I mean? I don't care. I got 4 more years of my contract that I'm locked in. Now you can pay
I've
me to go
signed
home.
my 5-year contract.
Yeah, what
Woodrow
do I care?
Johnson.
Let me do my job. No, I'm not taking that guy. He sucks. And I know he wears shiny hats that you want to now get and wear around town, but he's not the guy. No is the answer. I think you should trade up. I think you should shut up. That's what I think you should do. And you need somebody with some balls, with a spine. And I'm not saying Joe Douglas didn't, but like he said, I serve at the pleasure of the owner. Well, there you go. You already lost the battle.
He'd be like, I just got to lick some boots real quick. Mr.
let me lick
Wilson,
the boots.
Mr. Woody Johnson, Dick. Ugh.
Yeah.
Stupid.
Poor
Matt.
Matt.
Nice of you to join us.
Back.
Yeah, I'm looking
Boys
at
and girls.
YouTube, so it takes me a second.
I'm hitting the wrong button. We got the spin wheel. Hey, Bean. How many qualifiers we got?
27.
On the 27th day of Christmas, Green Bean gave to me.
Flashlight in a big tree.
Oh, man. Boys
That's
and
gonna have
girls.
its own sliver.
It's just,
God.
you lube it up with tears and you're good to go.
Totally, man. That's it.
Oh,
The Jets
God.
light.
The Jets light. Yeah, for screw Jet Life. It's gonna be a
Yeah,
stadium.
It comes with
shaped.
a little packet of real Jets fan tears. Oh, it's crazy.
I love Tuesdays. All right, third time hit and generate. That's what we're gonna do. Bam, 25.
right.
No, bam, 20. This one is gonna be the winner for tonight. 21. Bean, who's number 21?
Motherfucking 𝐒𝐵OOGIE.
Motherfucking Boogie. Thanks so much for playing. Let's see what he gets.
DHgate.
He gets a shirt.
Yeah.
There you go, 𝐒𝐵OOGIE. Reach out, jetstalk247@gmail.com or talkinjetshow@gmail.com. Links in the description down below. Send us your shipping information, your shirt size, what you want from the Talkin' Jets store, and we'll get it sent out to you. Thank you so much for playing and hanging out with us. Greatly appreciated, good friend. Boys and girls, we've reached the end of our show, so I want to go around our panel, give our closing thoughts. Mr. Greenbean, how you doing tonight?
Well, I just took 2 GABAs, not gabapentin for those who know, just a GABA. I'm ready to go to bed. I am not doing the after-hours show. I've decided I'm not doing it for the rest of the year. I'm fucking tired all the time. So we'll see you on Thursday for the Thursday Thick of It with Dom and Gunny. But yeah, no show tonight, everybody. I was planning, but I decided against it. I'm tired.
Matt, any last words for our panel?
Jets win out, and we get to discuss Aaron Rodgers all month because let's do it. Why not, baby?
Here we go. I like it. Boys and girls, we hope you have a wonderful holiday, New Year's, Christmas, Hanukkah, whatever you're celebrating. Thank you so much for tuning in, hanging out with us during this abysmal season. We are going to be off the next 2 Tuesdays. We'll be back on January 6th for our regular scheduled programming on the Talkin' Jets channel. So we'll finish out this week with Matt and Green Bean shows with Jeremy and 𝐒𝐿𝐫𝐞𝐫. And then we'll be back. Oh, this show will be back on the 7th, but that 6th will be back here. Boys and girls, thank you so much for hanging out with us. This is Talkin' Jets signing off. JETS.
Just go somewhere else. I can't take this nonsense anymore. How are you going to blame the defense?
I got the powder. Screw Green Bean. Damn it.
But once you get to the sausage, I feel like we're doing something.
Go Jets.
And that's the other part of it is that people are insanely jealous of this show. This show gets the best of the best, and it does a different way with positivity.
He scores!
Ow, my head! No, come on.
What would you give up to see a Jets Super Bowl?
All of my friends and family.
Hit those milk thumbs, boys and girls.
Freeze run.
Hold on to your underwear, ladies, and stand by, bitches. It's now time for Talkin' Jets with your hosts, Matt, Ryan, and Green Bean.